We just heard from a Democrat on the security failures surrounding the attempted bombing of Northwest Delta Flight 253. Now, let's bring in a Republican to give that side of the aisle, who says that somebody in the Obama administration should be fired over all of this. With us now, the New York Republican Congressman Peter King. Congressman King is the ranking member on the House Homeland Security Committee. He was one of the first Republicans to be briefed on the situation on Christmas Day. Congressman, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shepard.
I'll start with, as we did with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, what should happen now on the heels of this failure?
Well, first of all, it has to be a complete investigation and review of what happened. But I disagree, for instance, with people like John Brennan in the administration. And I'm saying this only because I don't know if they've learned from their mistakes. When he says there was no smoking gun, I don't know what kind of a signal that sends, because when the Nigerian banker came in and told about his son, that had to be a smoking gun, or at least a red flag. And so it's not as much the system didn't work, as it didn't, but individuals within the system didn't work the way they were supposed to. And so I don't think there's any magic answer here, but I think the president has to set more of a tone. I think people in his administration have to be more active. I think the Secretary of Homeland Security has to become more active on this. I think that they have to get away from looking upon this as a criminal justice issue and look upon it much more as a war, which is what it is. And so there's any number of things. I think he should be, that the terrorist should be treated as a enemy combatant, not being indicted in a civilian court. I think we should be much more aggressive as far as questioning people coming into the country. Some people call it profiling. I call it common sense screening.
So what level do you go, Congressman?
I would say that certainly somebody who is doing the questioning or is doing the screening should not have to worry that he's going to be accused of profiling. The fact is, most of the terrorists are going to be Middle Eastern men. So if that gets extra priority in the screening, so be it. Obviously, 99% of Muslims are great people, but 100% of the terrorists are coming from either Muslim countries or Muslim backgrounds, and that has to be factored in. I'm just saying we have to use more common sense, and also I think the president should end this race to close Guantanamo and realize that's sending a very mixed signal to the world.
How's that sending a mixed signal? He campaigned on that. He's been real firm on that. He said that gave us a black eye around the world, and studies seem to suggest that's exactly what it did. And what difference does it make where you house them as long as they don't get out?
It makes a very big difference, because right now we have no place to put them. He wants to send them to Yemen, and obviously
put them, Congressman. They're not going to do that. They already said they're not going to do that.
Well, they were going to do it up until yesterday. Well, why was he even thinking about it for the last year? I mean, that's the whole point, is he should have known. That's where I'm saying the schizophrenic message that's coming from the administration. And I support the president on a lot of what he's doing. I know what he's doing in Yemen, and I support that. But as far as sending people from Guantanamo there, it was a big mistake. And I think we should not be giving in. Just because the terrorists say that Gitmo is a recruiting agent, so is our support of Israel. Does that mean we shouldn't support Israel?
You're not equating the two, are you, Congressman? I mean, truly, why is this political football being thrown around so much in the middle of all this? President Obama campaigned on this issue, and he said he was going to do it. He got elected, and now he's going to do it.
And he should learn by his mistakes.
Well, I mean, the other one said he wasn't going to. Actually, the other candidate said he was going to close Guantanamo Bay, too, and so did President Bush. I mean, they're not alone on an island out there somewhere.
No, there's two different things, Shepard. John McCain, I disagree with him on this. President Bush, everybody wants to close Guantanamo ultimately. Don't be setting one-year time limits or two-year time limits. The fact is that we cannot be giving in to terrorist demands. And Guantanamo is a model prison. It's better than almost any prison you would find anywhere. Those detainees there are being treated better than most Marines are being treated in Paris Island or
of all the
Army,
important things to talk about. This is where we keep these people who want us dead. Why do we spend time even talking about? Why do people care? I mean, it's in Cuba. We shoved them off to another country and stuck them on the end of an island and given the nation a black eye. If you believe, President Obama,
I don't believe him. I think only a person who's incredibly naive would say that we deserve that black eye. We got it because elements in the media and elements in the Democratic Party kept parroting that line. But the fact is, they are being treated extreme humaneness at Guantanamo. It was the right thing to do, and there were constitutional reasons for doing it and legal reasons for doing it, all of which I think have been proven right. You have to keep them in a place where they can be interrogated, where information can be gotten from them, intelligence gotten from them. We have the right to keep them there as long as we want to, I believe.
You said in the beginning, one of my first questions was, I'm almost out of time. Should somebody's head roll here over this incident on Christmas? And if so, do you have a name for me?
No, because we have not gotten all the information. And contrary to what you said, I was never actually briefed on this. We've got no information from the administration. What I get is on my own. But there's any number of people, and somebody should when it's all over, yes.
Congressman Peter King, Republican of New York, thank you, sir, very much.
Grand jury in Michigan has indicted the Nigerian man on charges of trying to blow up that airliner on Christmas Day. Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalib is charged with attempted murder and possession of a firearm. Authorities say he attempted to detonate explosives hidden in his underwear. As we've heard, he was subdued by passengers and the crew. And the State Department announced it has revoked Abdul Muttalib's visa. Well, the fallout from that attempt and the government's failure to see it coming continues to have many people here in Washington calling for changes in approach or in personnel. Senior White House correspondent Major Garrett has the story.
President Obama talked up mentors and education today, but the unmistakable White House focus remains on reforming intelligence flaws at the heart of the systemic Flight 253 failures. Mr. Obama's chief counterterrorism advisor, John Brennan, will deliver an unclassified report tomorrow on the botched intelligence.
The review will simply identify and make recommendations as to what was lacking and what needs to be strengthened. In yesterday's meeting, each agency and department took responsibility for their aspect of that systemic failure.
The White House will not rule out firings or resignations, and Brennan's report may pave the way by exposing the most egregious breakdowns. Former Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff told Fox individuals, not the system, are to blame.
Someone should have given the order to have the system run against these particular data points.
Chertoff, however, defended his successor at Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano.
The problem doesn't lie with her and her department. It really lies with the intelligence fusion process.
But the top Republican on the House Homeland Security Committee said someone has to take the fall.
I think the president's going to have to take severe action against either 1, 2, or 3 people. Or that or totally revamp the structure of his intelligence apparatus.
Dennis Blair, Director of National Intelligence, the agency created to coordinate just the kind of intelligence that was left unshared in the Christmas bombing plot, said his team must, quote, outthink, outwork, and defeat terrorists. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff agreed.
Certainly the direction we've all received from the president, we have to learn these lessons and make it better.
Meanwhile, the government in Yemen rejected foreign troops to help its fight against al-Qaeda. Yemen has stepped up military training to confront, at long last, Western critics say, this years-old terrorist threat. The White House implied today this new battle undermines Yemen's ability to secure any more Yemeni nationals the White House once considered releasing from Guantanamo Bay.
We never had a plan to transfer Yemenis back to their country if the Yemeni government was not capable of handling that transfer.
Back to the question that hangs over all of this, will anyone lose his or her job? The White House says not tomorrow, but maybe later. Brett?
Major Garrett live.